Hi there.
So we'll be moving into mindfulness tools for busy caregivers, and I'm just going to readjust a little bit. I was on my laptop a few moments ago, but having a few technical difficulties, so I'm on my iPhone, and so I'm just readjusting a tiny bit. What kind of caregiving do you do?
So, actually, my father just passed away. So I was caregiving for my father who had dementia and heart disease. So he passed away just a month ago. But I'm a mom, so I have a teenage daughter. So I'm, obviously still playing the caregiver role for her, and then just dealing with grief and transitioning and, all of that. So when I saw this, I was like, I need to get involved with, some type of mindfulness. And, I've been doing talk therapy, which is wonderful, but I feel like physically, like I need to like get back into things too. Like I definitely love to work out and I love meditation, but I just feel like with everything going on, I've just been kind of decreasing the commitment to those things.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for your loss, and it's so new. It's so recent and raw, and so it's really wonderful that you're able to take some time out of all of the things that you're still juggling and holding, and be able to do a little practice for yourself to dig into some of the mindfulness tools. Those are just so helpful. So I'm sure that you're not alone. I see some other folks joining in right now. We have Stephanie and Brenda arriving. We have Dee as well. So I want to welcome everyone here. My name is Larissa Hall Carlson, and I'm a caregiver and an end-of-life doula. My father passed away almost 20 years ago to the day from dementia and Alzheimer's. And I've been a caregiver for decades. My mother now is in her mid 80s and has gone through some ups and downs in the last few years. And so, as a caregiver for my family members, for my best friend is entering hospice, and a caregiver also for clients and for people for whom I give support to them and their family as they're approaching their end of life. I know just how difficult it can be to do self-care when the priority often in the moment has to be on someone else. And so today I'd like to share with you all some tools and tips that I've learned over the years, over the decades, not only as a caregiver, but I have my master's degree in mindfulness studies. I've been teaching mindfulness and yoga for about 20 years as well. And so I'm going to share with you some tips and tools that are referred to in the industry as minis. So mindfulness minis. And you'll see some of these in your swag bag. I have recorded some of these in audio format. And I also have a 10-day audio course on mindfulness for caregivers. And you'll see that in your swag bag here as well. And so these are tools that are used and have been proven through modern day research to help reduce stress, reduce tension, reduce inflammation, reduce pain, reduce trouble sleeping. Just over and over again, these have been proven to be very, very reliable tools for self-care. But on the other side, they work to cultivate a sense of inner peace and calmness. They help to support self-regulation. Self-regulation is a really, really important part of caregiving. So being able to manage one's fluctuating energy levels and emotions and feelings and thoughts and all the things that can pull one away from being present for a loved one. And so self-regulation is one of the most important parts of mindfulness for caregivers. So you'll learn some mini tools to help support self-regulation and also to support focus, concentration, supporting inner harmony, compassion, inner peace. So we'll do some kind of shedding or releasing of things we don't like or don't need or don't want or ready to let go of. And then at the same time, cultivate, increase things that are supportive and enhance a sense of well-being and happiness and ease, no matter how chaotic and intense and overwhelming the external situation is or may seem. So I hope that sounds good to you. I'm so glad you all have joined me today. I want to invite you to do a little mind dump, a little mental dump into the chat if you'd like. And so anything that you're ready to release, anything that you want to let go of, just toss that in the chat. And that can be body or mind. So letting go of stomach pain, or letting go of trouble sleeping, or releasing back pain, or letting go of frustration, or letting go of stress. Like, what are you ready to let go of? You can toss that in the chat. Or in the chat, you can also put what you're wanting to cultivate at this stage. So wanting to cultivate compassion, patience, ease, a good night's sleep, healthy digestion, companionship, connection, support, whatever you'd like to cultivate. Yeah. Letting go of some work stress, Loretta. Yeah. So it's really important in mindfulness. We're always looking at what we're letting go of. Like Stephanie's letting go of overwhelm, letting go of things, like releasing what no longer serves, or at least lightening it up. And then simultaneously working to cultivate, working to increase stamina, resilience, patience, happiness, joy, compassion, ease, peacefulness, right? So it's like a seesaw. What do we let go of and what do we cultivate? And so the tools that we'll work on today will focus on both of those. We'll begin with some mindful movements and just some really gentle movements to release physical tension. Often during caregiving, I know I've experienced over the years that sometimes the caregiving can be so intense. And it's like, I barely even have time to take a shower. I don't have time to do yoga. I don't have time to take a walk. Sometimes caregiving days are just so intense like that. And that's where these mindful minis are so useful, because they only take a couple of minutes, and you can do them when a loved one is in the bathroom or eating a meal, or while you're sitting outside in the waiting room at the doctor's office. These are practices that you can do pretty much anywhere during those like wasted minutes during the day. Okay. So we'll start with some mindful movement and loosen up physical tension. Then we'll move into some mindful breathing. And these are my favorite techniques that help to more directly release mental and emotional tension, release stress, and help to cultivate ease in the nervous system, help to get us into the rest and digest nervous system state. So the breath is excellent for that. And then we'll move into some mindful meditation and explore techniques that really help to enhance a sense of peace and quiet amidst the busyness of a caregiving day. Okay. So I hope that sounds good to you. Let's begin with the movement. And you can begin by just either standing or seated. Just elongate the spine and begin to roll the shoulders forward and up, back and down, just coming into some big shoulder rolls. And you can start deepening the breath. Just start to deepen the breath. You can go faster than I'm leading. You can go slower, whatever feels good for your shoulders. But we want to get a little bit of heat going to help melt away tension, to help melt away the knots and kinks that tend to accumulate in the shoulders. Then change direction. Nice big shoulder circles here. You might notice one shoulder feels a little more open than the other. Maybe one shoulder feels a little bit more hitched or tight. And then gradually release the shoulders down and just take a moment to feel the effects of that, letting prana, letting chi, letting energy, letting vitality just circulate through the channels. You might feel a little bit of warmth. You might feel some tingling. Hopefully you feel a little bit of ease there. And let's do the same thing now with the head and neck. So seated, tall, or standing comfortably, very gently start to circle the head and neck. Let these circles be really smooth, really gentle. So try to avoid cracking and popping of the neck. Never force the neck. Let these circles be really comfortable. We're not really trying to stretch the neck muscles. We're just trying to loosen up the cervical spine. And that requires great gentleness. Change direction. So opening up this important channel between the head and the heart. When this channel gets blocked, the breathing can be restricted. When it gets blocked, blood pressure can increase. When it gets blocked, we can get headaches and feel ringing in the ears, or feel overly frustrated, or have a short temper. And so just by physically loosening up this area, research has proven that it helps reduce stress and tension. Let's take just a couple more circles here. Another bonus is this one is good for constipation. So if you're ever fighting that, loosening up the shoulders and the neck really helps. And then draw the head back to center and just take a moment to reset, just feeling the effects of those mindful movements, loosening the shoulders, loosening the neck, right? You can do that anywhere, parked in the car, sitting in the doctor's office, waiting at the kitchen table, and that sort of thing. Now let's take it to the wrists, another area that tends to get really tight. And so you can interlace the fingers, bring the forearms together, drop the elbows a little bit, and circle the wrists. And just let the forearms rub up against one another. And so here we're working to loosen up the wrist joint. Lots of little muscles here. This is an area that can get dry and cracking and popping. You can get carpal tunnel and wrist sensitivity. Change direction. So this very simple mindful movement helps to loosen up tension in the wrist joint, but it also stimulates the synovial membrane, which secretes synovial fluid, and that fluid helps to lubricate, protect, and nourish the wrist joints. And the joints are big junction points for energy, for prana, or qi in Chinese medicine. You might feel some heat building in the arms just by circling the wrists. So we should be getting a little heat, a little tired, and then gradually release the hands down. Let the hands come back to the lap. And just take a moment to feel the effects of that, feeling that maybe in the arms, heat or tingling or vibrating, and that circulation of blood and plasma and lymph and energy flowing up and down the arms. You might also feel like the heart rate has increased just a little bit. So this is like a tiny little bit of cardio, very safe, simple way to get a little bit of movement in the circulation when you're feeling stagnant on those days when you just can't get your exercise in. It's a really, really nice way to work it. And so these simple mindful movements can be done anywhere, really. You can even work the ankles right now. And so you may want to sit down on the edge of a chair or bench or down on the floor and just begin to lift and lower the heels. So you balance on the ball mounds and then lower back down. So just lifting and lowering the heels. So you get a little bit of circulation down in the lower legs. That's an area where the gravitational pull tends to create swelling in the ankles and the feet and puffiness. Even if you're on your feet all day, you can get real stagnant there. And then release the heels down, coming to having both feet back down on the floor. And then we'll work one ankle at a time. I'm not going to show my full body here on camera right now, but so you can lift your one foot up and just circle the ankle. Now pull your belly in so you get a little bit of core engagement to protect your back. It's a little bit of a workout for the core, just circling the ankle and then change direction. We'll just do a few rounds here. Should build up a little bit of heat. And then release that foot back down to the floor and just take a few breaths here to compare the 2 feet. Does one side feel different than the other? Does one side feel more tingly, more vibrant, more awake? And let's work that other ankle. So lift that foot and just circle the ankle. Pull your belly in a little bit, engage your core muscles, smooth out and deepen your breath, taking in more oxygen, refreshing your system, and then change direction. Circle the ankle the other way. Very simple, really simple movement, but it's these little mini practices that make all the difference in whether we feel stagnant or blocked at the end of the day. And release that foot back down to the ground. And then just take a moment to feel the effects of that. So much of mindfulness is not just about the action or the technique, but also the moments between the techniques, the moments to practice self-observation, to be a witness for sensations. Good. And so from here, let's move into some mindful breathing. Now that we've opened up the wrists, the ankles, the shoulders, and the neck, we'll move into some mindful breath. And there's so many mindful breathing techniques, but we'll work with a breathing technique that is using a counting breath. And this is one of the very best techniques to help deactivate the sympathetic nervous system, or the fight or flight nervous system, which tends to be all revved up during caregiving. And it helps to bring back into the governing state the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest nervous system. It's a very simple technique and incredibly effective. And so again, coming to your nice comfortable seated position, it's not usually best to do this one standing. So if you're standing, you may want to come back down to a seat. And then line up the head right over the center of the shoulders. So we tend to kind of poke the head forward a lot, especially on technology. So you might pull the head back a couple of inches and just tuck the chin slightly. Let the hands rest on the lap, and you're welcome to close or soften the eyes. Now I'll count the breath up to 4 and back down to 4. We'll be inhaling and exhaling through the nose. But if your nose feels too congested, or if you're working with deviated septum and it's not comfortable to breathe through your nose, you're totally welcome to breathe through the mouth instead. So I will set the count, I'll set the rhythm, and then I'll invite you to adjust that rhythm, and you can slow it down or speed it up so that you find a tempo that feels just right in order to drop into a zone, enhancing concentration, enhancing present moment awareness, and helping to enhance a sense of spaciousness and ease. Okay, so that's what we'll be going for. So in your seated position, hands rest on the lap, line the head right up over the center of the shoulders and tuck the chin slightly. Let the eyes soften or close. And then loosen up and relax all the little muscles around the eyes. Loosen up and relax the jaw. Let there be a little bit of space between the teeth. You might even let the tongue rest heavily at the base of the mouth. And together, inhale, exhale, and we begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. 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 Inhale, keep counting to your own beat. You keep the inhalation and the exhalation to the count of 4, but speed it up or slow it down so you find a tempo that feels just right. Try to keep the breath through the nose if you can. And we'll come into about 30 seconds of silent counting breath together. Just drop into a rhythm. And the next time you come back around to an inhalation, release the count. Let the natural breath return. You can keep the spine long, the eyes soft or closed, and just take a few moments to feel the imprint of the counting breath. The rhythm of the count helps to soothe and settle the nervous system. It creates a reliable rhythm, a steady rhythm, a rhythm that is dependable for the mind. And when there's that dependability, the mind has more of an opportunity to expand, to relax, to feel spacious, to be present. You can gradually let the eyes drift open if they've been closed. And before we move on to the next mini mindfulness technique, I invite you to drop into the chat something you experienced in the breath work. So it could be a phrase or a word, and it could be a sensation that was pleasant or unpleasant. You never know how something's going to land. But just noticing for yourself the effects of the breath. Were you able to stay fairly focused? Yeah, I'm seeing calm, peacefulness. Yeah. Yeah. And so these mini techniques, these can be done for anywhere from 1 to 4 minutes at a time. 1 to 4 minutes at a time, that's usually enough. But we want to do them consistently. And this is the really, really important part of modern day research, especially around mindful breathing techniques, is that consistency is more important than duration. So I'll say that again, consistency is more important than duration. And so doing 4 minutes of mindful breathing every day, or 3 minutes of mindful meditation every day, or 2 minutes of mindful movement every day, that adds up. And the body, the nervous system, the hormones and the endocrine system begin to settle down. And so by doing a little bit every day, it's much, much more beneficial than doing 30 minutes or an hour once a week. That's a really, really important piece of information, and it's been proven over and over again. I've been teaching these techniques again for about 20 years and have been part of many, many research studies with Harvard and Brigham and Women's Hospital. Over and over again, these techniques are being proven effective for settling the sympathetic nervous system and bringing back into the governing state the parasympathetic nervous system, or the rest and digest system. And so just a few minutes every day really helps. So you'll see a couple of these techniques in your swag bag that I've given you, some of these audio tracks of mindful breathing. But let's do another one together. So the next technique that I love to do, and it's a really, really great one for like taking a scattered mind and bringing it right back to the present moment. It's very simple. The breathing pattern is inhale, exhale, pause. Inhale, exhale, pause. So we add a tiny little moment of pause, a little breath retention right at the bottom of the exhalation. And what that does is it sucks the mind right into the present moment, because we don't usually hold the breath out, right? When you're holding the breath in, usually what happens is you're about to dive into the pool or splash your face with water or walk by a fumey truck, you take in a big breath and hold the breath in when the lungs are full. But we don't usually empty the lungs. We don't usually exhale and hold empty. So by exhaling and holding empty, the mind is going to get curious very quickly. It's going to want to know what's happening with the breath, and it will draw the mind right back into the present moment. So this is an excellent one when you're feeling overwhelmed, when your mind is just overflowing with thoughts, or if you're feeling really scattered, having trouble coming back to the present moment, having trouble coming back to yourself. This is a quick fix. It only takes about a minute. And so we'll do it together. The breath will come in and out through the nose if that's comfortable, but you can breathe through the mouth if that feels better for you. And the pause at the bottom is going to be just a moment. It's like a heartbeat. It's a second. It's just a tiny little moment of pause. During that pause, there should be no strain. There should be no stress. There should be no tension. We just want to hold for a comfortable beat, okay? And a couple of things to avoid for this. So don't hold the breath empty if you're pregnant. We never do breath retentions during pregnancy, okay? That's really important. The other thing is, don't hold the breath empty if you have a cough. Often that will trigger a cough. It's not so dangerous, but it will trigger a cough, so you may not want to do it. And then the third thing, which is important, is heart condition. So uncontrolled high blood pressure, don't hold the breath empty. Okay, so you can just do the counting breath up and down instead. So let's give it a try. Sit up nice and tall. Rest the hands comfortably on the lap. Draw the head back a few inches, remember? So pulling the head back away from the screen, and then tuck the chin just slightly so the back of the neck is nice and long. And let the eyes soften or close. Loosen up all the little muscles in the brow and the eyes and the jaw. Bring your attention to the breath. And now together, inhale, long, smooth, deep inhalation, and exhale, long, thorough exhalation. Hold empty, and start again. Inhale, drawing in fresh air, fresh oxygen, fresh energy. Exhale, releasing carbon dioxide, letting go of tension and tightness. Now hold empty at the bottom. Relax into it, and start again. Inhale, nice, big, deep inhalation, refreshing the body, recharging your batteries. Stay tall as you exhale thoroughly, squeezing empty. Hold empty at the bottom for just a moment, just a floating moment of pause. And then start again. Inhale, filling up, recharging, refreshing your system. Once you're full, then right away exhale, emptying out, letting go of stress, letting out tension and tightness. When the lungs are empty, hold. Hold for just a moment, and then begin again and start moving at your own rhythm, following this breathing pattern. Inhale, exhale, pause. Inhale, exhale, pause. So find your own tempo, find your own pace to that breathing pattern. Remember, the pause should be comfortable. There should be no strain. Just want to get like a tiny little flash of energy there. You want to get just a little flash of heat during that breath retention. It's just a little turnaround moment where you get recharged. So I'm going to be silent for about 30 seconds and let you continue with the inhale, exhale, pause technique, just melting into the rhythm. I'll do it with you. And I'll invite you to keep going with the inhale, exhale, pause pattern for just a few more rounds. And if it's comfortable, you might lengthen the pause at the bottom just an extra beat or two. So you just get to float there for just a few moments. No strain, no force, just adding a little bit of length to that breath retention so you can really drop into the zone. And just a few more rounds like that. And then next time you get back to the inhalation, release the breathing pattern. Return back to a natural breath. You're welcome to keep the eyes closed or the eyes soft for a few more moments and just feel the effects. Maybe that technique had a little bit of a different effect from the counting breath. And then let the eyes drift back open if they've been closed. And I invite you to share something in the chat about your experience. And again, everything's welcome. There could be pleasant experiences or unpleasant experiences, but tossing a word or phrase into the chat, I saw coming in before that there was just an appreciation for having some silence, just breathing silently, and how powerful that can be. Yeah. And so these techniques are so powerful. They can be really powerful in the moment. You know, just doing a minute or two now and then can be so soothing and relaxing and recharging for caregivers. I use these all the time. Yeah, Loretta was feeling kind of the waves of the breath coming. Yeah. So these techniques are so powerful, but they're much more powerful and they're much more effective when they're done consistently. And so what I would recommend that you do as a caregiver is experiment and play and try different mindfulness techniques. And I'll give you another one in a moment. But the mindful movements that we've done, the shoulder rolls and neck rolls and wrist rolls and ankle rolls, you know, they take just a minute or two, and that can help enhance circulation. It can help release physical tension. You don't have to go into a full yoga class or do a full exercise routine to get a little bit of relief, right? And the same thing with the breath work, counting up and down to 4 or practicing the inhale, exhale, hold breathing pattern. If you start working that day after day, a minute here, a minute there, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, you will start to accumulate benefit. It's the beauty, the beauty. Yeah, Samantha's agreeing with the quiet. Yeah, nice to have some silence. What you'll find is if you go to my website at larissacarlson.com, and you'll see my information, I think on your swag bag, but larissacarlson.com, I have loads and loads of free audio mindfulness practices, and there are some that have long stretches of silence. And so you can just, when you need to, you just go right there to larissacarlson.com, go to the resources, go to my audio page, hit play, and you can be guided through mindful movement, mindful breathing, or mindful meditation that has some space and some quiet. And I know how powerful just having some held space can be. And that's really what we're after as caregivers, finding or claiming back minutes in the day. So the day can be just so overwhelming, just so overwhelming. And so to find those mindful minutes, mindful moments throughout the day, what I've discovered over the years of caregiving is that those mindful moments make all the difference for me, preventing my burnout, preventing me from getting short-tempered, preventing me from feeling exhausted at the end of the day. Like I'll still be pretty tired, but not as exhausted, right? It's like letting off a little steam here and there during the day instead of trying to let it all out at the end of the day, which often doesn't happen. And so I implore you to play with different techniques, find the ones that feel like a good fit for you. It's important to sample and try different ones. And then when you find a few that you really like, build a relationship with those mini mindfulness tools. Build an intimacy with them. And if you start working it and build some skillfulness with them, they will be there for you when you really need them. When a difficult test result is coming back, when the day is really exhausting, when there's extra mess, when there's accidents, when there's more pain in our loved ones, those mindful moments can be really, really essential for me just in maintaining my sanity and presence of mind. And so we've done a little physical movement, just a tiny bit. We've done some breathing techniques, and now let's play with a mindful meditation. So one of my absolute favorites is a technique that not only has been proven by research to reduce stress, pain, tension, inflammation, and trouble sleeping, but it's also a technique that has been proven to boost compassion. And that's a really interesting thing as a caregiver. There's a big difference between empathy and compassion. In empathy, we see someone else's pain and we relate to that pain. But in compassion, we see someone else's pain, we relate to that pain, and we imagine a hopeful outcome. We can sense a way to experience peace. We can see a way through. There's hope. It's more optimistic. Whereas empathy can often be depleting or exhausting. We see someone's pain, we relate to that pain, we take on that pain, we get depleted from that pain. The mirror neurons, take it in the brain. And so empathy and compassion are really different. They're both beautiful, but compassion is sustainable. Compassion is something that can be cultivated. And so the technique is a kindness meditation. You may have heard this metta meditation. It comes from Buddhism, but it's done in a secular way. So it can be a secular practice or a non-spiritual practice. And so that's what I'm going to guide you through right now is a loving kindness meditation or a metta meditation, which is designed to begin with care or kind words for self. And this is really interesting for caregivers because what it does is it puts the caregiver in first place for a few moments, invites the caregiver to recharge the batteries in order to care more efficiently, in order to care more effectively. So we have to recharge our own batteries in order to be really effective as caregivers. And often as caregivers, self-care takes a backseat. You know this, I know you know this. And so to put ourselves first here and there, a little bit throughout the day, just making sure that we're getting what we need so our digestion is working, the nervous system is working well, get enough rest, get a little exercise, drink water, all the healthy things that we can do as caregivers. We have to sneak those in throughout the day, or else the burnout is overwhelming. So loving kindness meditation puts the caregiver first. It begins with kind phrases to self, and then we say kind phrases to others and kind of send that goodness outward. So establish a comfortable, steady seat, and we'll go through 2 different rounds. There are many categories of people that we can send kindness to, but we'll go through 2 rounds, one for self and one for other. So you can rest the hands on the lap, elongate the spine, let the eyes soften or close, and invite into the mind's eye the image of yourself. So that could be the image of you right now in this moment, or it can be the image of yourself, a snapshot of you from any point in your life, maybe during a difficult caregiving day. But let one image of yourself grow clear in the mind. Let that image stay in the mind. I will say a line of kindness meditation, and you're invited to repeat that line, either whispering it aloud or saying it silently to yourself, directing those kind wishes towards yourself. May I be healthy. May I be safe and protected. May I be at peace. May I be healthy. May I be safe and protected. May I be at peace. May I be healthy. May I be safe and protected. May I be at peace. And start to deepen the breath, absorbing those kind, friendly words, recharging your batteries. And then let that image of self disappear. And invite into the mind's eye the image of a friend or a loved one. A friend or a loved one. It could be someone you care for, or it could be someone else. It could even be an animal, a pet. But choose one being, a friend or loved one. Let that image grow clear in the mind. Usually whoever pops in the mind first is the right one for today. So just let that image grow clear in the mind. And I'll say some lines of loving kindness and invite you to repeat those out loud or silently, directing those kind words towards this friend or loved one. May you be healthy. May you be safe and protected. May you be at peace. May you be healthy. May you be safe and protected. May you be at peace. May you be healthy. May you be safe and protected. May you be at peace. And let your breath gradually deepen, sending those kind words out through the ethers to this friend or loved one. And let that image gradually disappear. And feel the imprint, feel the effects of this kindness meditation or metta meditation. Maybe noting that you were able to focus or concentrate more thoroughly in this technique, being more present in the present moment. Maybe there was some relaxation, some ease in the body or the mind. Perhaps you've sensed some enhancement of calmness or peacefulness, compassion, connection to others. So once again, as we prepare to wrap up for today, I invite you to share in the chat a word or a phrase. What did you notice with that kindness meditation? I saw before that the mantra or the phrasing was appreciated. Yeah. These techniques can be so helpful. The kindness meditation, there are many, many different layers and levels to it and variations of it. And you can make up your own phrases. It's one of the beautiful parts of this meditation technique, this mindfulness technique, is you can make up any phrase that's positive and in the present tense. So whatever you're wrestling with for the day, you can say something like, may I be free from fear. May I be kept out of danger. May I be open-hearted. May I have resilient patience today. Like any phrase that's going to help you get through the day, that's what metta can do. And the same for others. So if you're working with a loved one, if you're caregiving and they're in a lot of pain, saying phrases to them like, may you be free from pain and suffering. May you feel at ease. Right? So any kind of positive phrase, it's relief and release. I see Kathy and Dan have shared. Yeah. So there's so many ways to play with it. And again, if you go to my website, larissacarlson.com, you will see on my resources audio page loads of loving kindness meditation audio tracks. I have 5-minute ones, I have 10-minute ones, I have 20-minute ones. They're all free and they're just there right for you to hit play. You'll see at the very top of that page 2 audio tracks for caregivers. Those are the same 2 that you'll see in your swag bag for the CareCon event. And so these are techniques that I just invite you to keep playing with and experimenting with until you find a technique that really feels like a good fit for you. And just work it day after day after day. Like I'll say the loving kindness meditations while I'm waiting at the doctor's office for my mother to get out of appointments. I will do loving kindness meditation if I'm feeling frustrated or angry and stuck in traffic, like may I be at ease, may I be calm, may I feel at peace. I found that it's such a quick remedy for frustration or disconnection or sadness, even grief. And so experiment and play and see. But these are tools that are there for you. They're free and safe and accessible, and you can carry them with you no matter what caregiving situation you're in. So my name is Larissa Hall Carlson. It's been a pleasure sharing with you today. I do hope that you will stay connected with me, can reach out. My email address is larissa@larissacarlson.com. You'll find all that info in the swag bag. And I've also offered a big discount on my audio course, Mindfulness for Caregivers, just $12. And it's a 2.5-hour course teaching techniques that are research-based for caregivers. So I hope that's a really valuable resource for you and helpful for you. The main message here is keep it simple and keep it short so that it's doable. Oftentimes as caregivers, we want to have big, self-care goals of getting in a yoga class or going to a meditation class or taking a 2-hour walk or, doing all these things. And sometimes it's just not possible. But what is possible are the mindful minis. It is possible to find 2 minutes here and 1.5 minutes there and 4 minutes later in the day to practice self-care. That's sustainable. That's realistic. It's doable. And so I encourage you to prioritize that self-care so that you can care for your loved ones with more ease and peace in your heart. So have fun going back to the main stage. There are some awards coming out, and I believe Seth and Lauren are coming on in a few moments. And if you have questions, or if you'd like additional resources, just shoot me an email. This is what I do for a living, and I've been a caregiver and an end-of-life doula for a long time. So I'm happy to support you in other ways. Just reach out if you have any questions. Take good care, everyone. And thank you.